It's time for Upfront, a public service of Hall Communications.
And we are back. It is Sunday morning. The show is Upfront. My name is Phil Marlowe. Welcome to the program. If you're joining us for the first time, what we do here on Upfront is we take the music and we put it on the back burner. Now, calm down. It's coming back, I promise you. But for the next 30 minutes, what we're going to do is we open up our microphones, open up our studio, and say, hey, you out there in the community doing good stuff, come in here. Tell everybody what it is you're doing. And we do this each and every Sunday. We get folks in here who are literally on the front lines doing community work and doing stuff that impacts your world. You may not know it, but it does. And let them explain what it is they're doing. And our hope is that a connection will be made somehow, somewhere along the line. Maybe it's just that they're promoting an event and you go, well, it's kind of a cool idea. Maybe I'd like to go to that. Or, hey, I didn't know that there was an organization for this, and I have a friend who's in need of this, and that gets you involved. Or maybe it's they tug on your heartstrings, and you feel like making a donation. Well, that could happen too. So there's a lot of different end results that happen with the program, and each and every one of them is legit. So don't feel like you have to have all three or any one of the above. Yours is yours. This morning we've got return customers. The American Cancer Society is back with us. It's probably been about a year, actually, because 'tis the season. Joining us from the American Cancer Society is Kelley Lord, who's going to be talking to us about the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, which is happening on the 16th of October.
Yep. Just
Welcome
around the
back.
corner. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's killing me that I have to say that it's just around the corner.
It's another year gone by.
Yikes. But you brought a friend.
Yes, I did.
You did, and we always love having newbies come and join us. This morning also on our program is Dr. Bill Sikov, and Dr. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming in. You're at Miriam.
No, I'm
You're
at
not.
the Women and Infants Hospital Breast Health Center.
Ah, okay. I thought maybe I misread.
I used to be. I've been at Women and Infants now a little over 2 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then, welcome.
Thank you.
We'll change the markings here on the paper. You're going to be speaking about cancer in general, but also about a program that is under the umbrella of the American Cancer Society, which is the Real Men Wear Pink program.
Yes.
So we've got a lot to talk about this morning. We've got an event. We've got cancer. We'll fill this whole 30 minutes, no problem.
No problem.
So let's start with the work that the American Cancer Society does. I think most people do know, but Kelley, I'm going to let you take the lead here and just explain what it is that you do in your capacity with the American Cancer Society.
Sure. So again, thank you so much for having us on today. The American Cancer Society is a wonderful organization, to say the least. I am lucky enough to get to help coordinate our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. This is our 23rd year in Rhode Island, about our third year back in Providence. But events like our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, as well as many of the other campaigns that we have going on within our state alone, help to support the mission of the American Cancer Society. And we really are making an effort and making advances in many lives, not only right here in our backyard in Rhode Island, but nationally and also on an international level. The organization is global. We have a huge reach, and it is very cool to get to see firsthand what we do right here. A lot of the donations that are raised, not only for the organization, but with our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event, are restricted. So that means all of the donations from Making Strides will specifically go to support breast cancer research, as well as programs for breast cancer patients and their families. And because we have so many great local research facilities and health centers in our area, a lot of the donations that we raise nationally also end up coming back locally. But, you know, as a whole, we've been able to do a lot of things even over the last 30 years. We have played a role in nearly all of the most recent advancements, in cancer research. We I identified mammography as being something that was important moving forward in identifying cancer as well as the treatment. And with regard to research, two drugs in particular, tamoxifen and Herceptin, have been two that were funded by ACS cancer researchers, we're excited to say we had a hand in that. So there's a lot that we do. I certainly don't want to overwhelm anyone with numbers, but what's great is a lot of people are being helped because of what we are doing right here in Rhode Island. Great.
Well, Doc, Kelley just brought up, mammography and some of the drugs that are out there. I want to get you involved with the conversation in terms of early detection and breast health. What are the things that women really need to be doing to make sure that they're on top of? Everybody says you know your body better than anybody, and I'm guessing that's still, the first warning sign.
That's still true, although certainly there is a push to detect and diagnose breast cancer even before it's large enough for the woman to be able to feel it herself or even her doctor to feel it. And that's why early detection with mammography, ultrasound, in inappropriate patients, MRI, is so important, because we know that the earlier we diagnose breast cancer, the more likely it is that we're going to be able to treat it with less change, less interruption in the woman's life, and cure it.
Now, how early should women start getting into some sort of a regular routine in terms of being ahead of the curve in their breast health? I mean, with guys, it's always, you wait until you're 50 to worry about your prostate. And
right.
Certain things, there's certain age platforms. But with women, is it something that you should look at, very, very early? Or?
Well, there is an ongoing controversy about what age women should start having routine mammograms. And, I think the best recommendation that I can make is that it's really an individualized for each woman. It's an individualized decision between her and her doctor. I would say that most of us still follow age 40, unless there is a family history of breast cancer, especially breast cancer at a younger age, in which case we recommend that mammography start 10 years before the youngest relative in that family was diagnosed.
Right.
There are certain recommendations that suggest that perhaps in women who don't have a family history and who don't have dense breasts or other risk factors, that perhaps they could start having mammograms at a later age. But I think that most of us who specialize in breast cancer still choose 40 at the age to start for a woman who has no other risk factors.
Mm-hmm. Now, but it's not unheard of that a younger woman might develop breast cancer.
Right. No, it's not unheard of. And so younger women should be aware of what's going on in their breasts, so that even if they're at an age where, because they don't have additional risk factors, they're not having routine mammograms, as they say at the airports these days, if you see something, say something.
Right.
Don't just ignore it.
Right.
Because we do see breast cancer diagnosed in women in their 30s and occasionally in their 20s, and occasionally in association with a recent pregnancy. So these are all times when the breasts are more active than they are in older women, and where breast cancer can be diagnosed, even though the average age of diagnosis of breast cancer in this country is 65.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Now, it's not unheard of. I know we talk about women, but it's not unheard of that a male would have breast cancer as well.
That's true. About 1% of the breast cancers diagnosed in the United States occur in men. And those are more common in men who have strong family histories of breast and ovarian cancer in their female relatives. So again, if you're a man, especially if you come from one of those families and there's something going on in your breast, don't ignore it. Don't say, "Oh, well, men don't get breast cancer. Men don't get breast cancer. This can't be happening to me." It can. It's uncommon, but it can.
Yeah, because up until a few years ago, I was one of those guys who just thought,
right,
it doesn't happen to guys. Come on. and then I met a guy who had breast cancer.
Yes.
And it sort of rocked me a little bit. In terms of what we know about breast cancer, is it you mentioned a predisposition or a family history? Is that something that is always going to be sort of a telltale sign? Is it something that is very much based on your genes?
No, and in fact, that's very important for women to know.
Okay.
Because often women will be surprised that they're diagnosed with breast cancer because they don't have a family history. Well, about 75% of women diagnosed with breast cancer don't have an identifiable family history. Between 5 and 10% carry the BRCA gene, and that's the one that, for example, Angelina Jolie carries, and why she decided, in her case, to have bilateral prophylactic mastectomies as well as have her ovaries removed. And maybe another 10 or 15% will have positive family histories, even if we can't identify the specific gene that's responsible. But that still leaves 75% of the women diagnosed with breast cancer who don't have a family history. And so the lack of that history, should not lull anyone to sleep to say, oh, I've got something happening in my breast. Well, no one in my family ever had breast cancer. It can't be. The answer is it can't.
Right. And so I guess the $50,000 question here is so what is it that we think is contributing to the other 75%?
A good question. I mean, certainly there are some epidemiologic features.
Oh, hold on, you're going to have to define that word.
Well, in other words, if you look at large populations,
yep.
Okay, so what can we say? Well, age is in and of itself a risk factor because, as I said, half of the breast cancers occur in women over the age of 65.
Okay.
Obesity appears to be a risk factor, as is lack of physical activity, and alcohol intake in excess of, let's say, 1 or 2 glasses of wine a day appears to be associated with a higher risk. We also know that longer exposure to estrogen, so having your first period at a younger age, not having a full-term pregnancy before the age of 25 or 29, and continuing to have periods longer or being put on hormone replacement therapy with estrogen after you go through menopause, these are all additional risk factors.
Okay, so those are the things that
Yes.
folks need to be aware of. If you're just tuning in, we're talking breast cancer. The American Cancer Society, Kelley Lord is with us this morning. We will be talking about the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, which is coming up on the 16th. Just a little preview for folks. And also with us this morning, Dr. Bill Sikov from Women and Infants, and also involved with the Real Men Wear Pink program, which is as good a time as any to talk about that. So you have the walk, and then you've got Real Men Wear Pink. They're one and the same. They're just offshoots of one another. Is that how it works?
Yes. So the Making Strides event, our walk on October 16th, let's say is the umbrella. And then our new campaign this year is our Real Men Wear Pink campaign. And that will go, all of the funds raised will go to support the Making Strides event. And we are very excited to say that this year is the first year that we've launched here in Rhode Island. It is a national campaign that we have just brought locally. So we currently have about 30 men who are leaders in their community within the state of Rhode Island. Some are from southern Massachusetts who have signed on and really committed to making a difference and letting people in their community know, hey, this is important to me. This is something that I want to make a difference in and contribute to. And we're really excited that we're starting off. We had a launch party a couple weeks ago where we were able to get everybody together, or most of our Real Men candidates together, meet and greet, and now we are into our season, and so
let the games begin.
Yeah, very much so. So we're excited that we're kind of in full on mode.
So, and Doc, I think that's pink.
Yes.
You are wearing pink
Yes.
this morning.
Right.
I put my glasses back on.
So, as part of first, I was very pleased to be asked to be part of this campaign. Breast cancer, I know because I work with breast cancer patients, is so important. It's so important to continue to work towards cure, treatment, and prevention of breast cancer. And so I'm very glad to support the American Cancer Society's efforts to raise additional funds, to support additional research, to support of our cancer patients, to support dissemination of information about breast cancer, treatment, prevention, early diagnosis. So the commitment for the Real Men Wear Pink is that, I wear something pink every day during October.
You're off to a good start.
Wow, you are.
I'm a couple
not
days
even
early
October
today.
yet.
Right.
I like
I'm
it.
a couple days early, but yes, I've laid in a stock of pink shirts and a couple of pink ties, and people will be seeing me wear pink. And if anyone asks me, I'll explain why. And also committed to raising money as part of the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event and participating in the event on October 16th. And we certainly hope that your listeners will support us, that they will make donations, that they will show up at the event on October 16th and join us in the walk. I think there were more than 17,000 this year.
Yeah. So explain a little bit about, as a candidate, are you obliged to, is there a certain threshold that each one of you is asked to try to hit?
I think that our goal is for each of us to raise at least $2,500, and certainly I hope to raise significantly more than that, because it's both personal and professional for me. It's personal. I have not had any first-degree relatives, sisters, mother, daughter, who's been diagnosed with breast cancer, but I have a number of friends, wives of friends, mothers of friends, cousins, who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And I know that the American Cancer Society programs have been very helpful to them, as they've dealt with this, as they faced it. But also it's what I do every day. I'm a breast cancer specialist, medical oncology breast cancer specialist at the Women and Infants Breast Health Center. And basically every day I see women diagnosed with breast cancer, either early stage, advanced stage, being followed after their initial treatment. And so I know how much of a challenge this is to the women. I also know how brave they and their families are at facing the disease, facing the treatment, and facing the uncertainty, might the cancer recur.
Right. It's a nasty disease. It's one that you just mentioned you haven't had it in your family. I've had two in mine, my Aunt Margaret and my brother's wife, Chantal. And it's not nothing fun about it.
No, well, obviously nothing fun about it. And I think that that our goal, the American Cancer Society's goal, those of us who diagnose and treat breast cancer, our goal is to prevent it, is to get rid of it, is to detect it early, to diagnose it, to treat it, to cure it, and hopefully someday also to prevent it. Having been in the breast cancer field the last 25 years, I've seen some incredible advances, in terms of treating and early diagnosis of breast cancer. Sometimes it's a new drug. We mentioned tamoxifen and Herceptin as two major drugs. Sometimes it's just an understanding of the disease so that we can treat it better. And treating it better is not always meaning more treatment. Fortunately, sometimes treating it better means less aggressive treatment if we know, based on the stage and the type of breast cancer, okay, this patient will do well with less toxic treatment, so they can do less surgery, they can do less chemotherapy, they can do less hormone therapy and still do very well.
Yeah. How does it feel to have a gig where everybody's trying to put you out of business?
I'll be perfectly happy. I'm working on my stand-up routine just in case.
Well, I think I got this part right from your bio. You went to Brown.
Yes.
So you started out. You're not from the area originally, Pittsburgh, I think.
Yes, that's right.
And then you went to Yale after that.
Yes.
So obviously no good schools.
Couldn't get in.
Couldn't get into any good schools, but. You've had a pretty good education, so this whole oncology thing doesn't work out. You got something to fall back on. So what's the window now? The campaign is underway. But what time are you going to shut off Real Men?
It will be the end of October.
it would be the end of October,
yep.
so we won't have the results before the
Correct.
actual walk.
Yes. So it'll be October 31st. All of our candidates will have, collected the rest of their donations or handed them in. And hopefully we will have somewhat of a larger announcement, as well as acknowledging our candidates at our event on the 16th, because we are so thankful of who we have involved, and we certainly want to acknowledge the work that they've put in. Whether or not we have final numbers, we certainly want to acknowledge that.
Now, at this point, the candidates, they've already been chosen, so that's at least for this year. Or can you take any? Just in case we have somebody
listening. We're not opposed to adding. And if you are interested, give us a call at 401-243-2604. So that we can have a conversation with you and certainly help in any way that we can. We kind of asked a variety of candidates, so we have a number from a lot of diverse groups. So we have some from the medical field, we have some from the educational field, the athletic departments at local universities. So it's a great combination of people that we have involved.
Good. And operators are standing by.
Yes.
So if there is somebody listening right now, give that number one more time.
401-243-2604.
Okay, so we'll make sure that
Yep.
we do it at least one more time before we wrap this up. But the walk, we've sort of been hinting at the walk, and that is coming up in just a few weeks. Let folks know what that all entails, how they can become a part of it, because we have time.
Sure.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always time. There's always time.
Good.
A lot of focus during October. It has been named "quote unquote" Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we certainly don't just work October
1st through
the 31st. We are certainly working year round, and we're excited that a lot of what we do work on comes together in October. But the event, if you've never been, I certainly encourage people to just come and check it out. There is no registration fee. It's a 3-mile walk through the downtown Providence area. It will start and finish at Kennedy Plaza. So we basically take over the Alex Anani City Center. We'll have registration, entertainment, a lot of things going on. And for those who aren't sure if they want to do the walk or would feel more comfortable kind of hanging around the stage, there's still a lot that we have going on for families, especially with regard to entertainment, musicians. We'll have a lot of that stuff going on. Our registration will open at 7:30, so you can stop in at registration at any point during the day. We do have opening ceremonies from 8 to 9, so we will have a lot of highlighted speakers, as well as listening from or hearing from some of our survivors, as well as highlighting some of the work that we've done throughout the year. And then the walk will start at 9, and it's usually a couple hours that people are out along the walk route. But it really is a great way to see everyone come together in a visible grouping, so to speak. I mean, we know that we work with a lot of people in Rhode Island. As Dr. Sikov mentioned, we had over 17,000 participants last year. We know people are out there, and we would love to have more, because what we're doing, each day, and especially with the donations raised at the event, truly are making a difference in the lives of those locally as well as nationally. So it is an incredible day. It's tough to describe because there's so many pieces. I really enjoy just taking a step back. I'm kind of into the nitty-gritty of logistics and how,
all the details.
Is everything starting on time? But it really is a great opportunity to take a step back and just to take in the moment, because that doesn't happen very often when you have 17,000 people in one spot for the same reason. So it's a great event.
Cool. cool. Now, you said there was no registration fee,
Correct.
but that doesn't mean that we're not looking for donations.
Exactly. Yes.
Dr. Sikov is
Yes.
hoping he's going to have his like an iPad with a square on it, so he can take donations.
We will certainly still be taking donations at the
campaign.
event. But yes, to your point, it is a fundraiser, so we certainly aren't asking for a certain amount from every participant. But I think being able to understand where those donations are going is also important for people to know, because we want, to get everybody involved and to really build that community environment.
Right, and no pun intended here, but walk-ups are welcome.
Oh, yes, yes.
People can just, you don't have to pre-register for this. Or,
Nope.
do you have anything like that where you maybe have like offices coming in as teams, registering as a team, or?
Yeah, so we have a website. So if anyone is interested in registering the event beforehand, that's probably the easiest way to do it. That way you don't even have to stop at the registration tent when you come in, unless you do have those donations to drop off. But the website is makingstrideswalk.org/Providence RI. So you can register as a survivor, an individual, or a team. And the website is very user-friendly, will help you walk through any of the issues that you have. But we try to make it as easy as possible for people to create their own page, to really personalize it. So for those that are interested, I would recommend signing up ahead of time. However, for those who are not as comfortable on the computer or tech savvy, we certainly have registration forms at the day of.
Okay. And is there a rain or shine, or?
We are rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Right. Oh, it never rains on Making Strides.
There you go.
Never.
It
I
has
like that.
it has blizzarded.
Blizzarded? It's okay.
We
You
have
can
had a
make up your
blizzard.
own-
How's that?
You're doing good work. You can make up your own words. It's fine. When we start out, a half an hour seems daunting, but I got to tell you, we're literally at the nitty gritty here, like a minute or so to kind of wrap this up. So with that having been said, I want to make sure that we give phone numbers, websites, anything that we need to. Doc, if you want to give your link to where folks can help you out for your personal cause, do you have or is there a best place to go? You can jump in, Kelley.
Very similar to our event website, it's makingstrideswalk.org.
Okay.
makingstrideswalk.org/Providence RI/Real Men Wear Pink.
Okay.
And
But-
then you can donate to either the entire group or to individuals.
Okay. So
Yes.
you can pick and choose.
Yes, and if you can't find the link or you want some assistance, you can always just give us a call and we'll help you with that.
Okay. And the number again that you gave out earlier.
Yep, 401-243-2604.
Okay. Ellen, have we hit everything?
You have.
Okay. We didn't introduce Ellen. She's kind of there in the background, but been here this morning as well. Give you the final word here. Anything that we haven't mentioned that we absolutely need to say before we get out of here?
Sometimes I've heard people say, well, Josh, it's just too much pink. I mean, pink footballs and pink shoes and pink bats. But it's a reminder. It's a reminder to everyone, that this is such a common disease, and it is such a burden to, the patients and their families who have to deal with it. But yet there is support out there. There's support from the American Cancer Society. There's support from, your doctors, your nurses, your cancer centers that will help.
Yeah. Well said. So we'll leave it at that. It's been great having you both in. I thank you for sharing information. Congratulations and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you very much, Phil.
That's a clean campaign. I'm sure you're not bad mouthing any of the other candidates. Haven't seen any nasty ads on TV, so I think we're doing all right. Kelley Lord and Dr. Bill Sikov, thank you both for coming in, and Ellen.
Thank you so much.
Talking to the American Cancer Society and the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk coming up on the 16th. But we got to get out of here. I, however, am back next Sunday. New topic, new guest. Hope you'll be there too.
If you need more information on today's show or would like to be considered as a guest for an upcoming program, call 401-467-4366 and ask for Phil Marlowe. This has been Upfront on Hall Communications.